पीह लोके हत्वार्थकामान् सुखिनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः ते स्थिताः प्रमुखे धातराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् आवाप्य भूमावसपत्नवृद्धम् राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तपः न योऽस्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विशीदन्तमिदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासु न गतासुंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः. Yeah. So, still this bhashya only is going on for this verse. We seem to be in a nice holding pattern, 7-page long holding pattern. But I think we are seeing the end of it today. So we stopped at an intriguing question. Sorrow is centered on what? Only two possibilities, right? There are only two things in the world. What are they? Atma. What is the other thing? Anatma. This should be very clear. If I say Atma and if there are only two things, what's the other thing? Anatma. So Atma and Anatma. So is Atma the cause of sorrow? No. Even after some thought it becomes very clear Atma is not the cause of sorrow. Why? Because Atma is described as free of sorrow. You know, in where? In the Upanishad. A grieving Narada goes to Sanat Kumara. Who is Sanat Kumara? Huh? Yeah, but we don't have that introduction. We know in some other way. Who is? How do we know Sanat Kumara? Yeah, but where does he live? That's the point. There are 4 fellows at Dakshinamurti's feet. There, you see? Yeah. Not the teacher sitting, there are 4 fellows. It's very difficult to point to the previous one, not there. Above. That's those 4 fellows. You're not talking of Shankara's 4 fellows.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not
these 4 fellows.
So pick anyone you like, that is Sanat Kumara. Yeah, so Sanat Kumara, who learned from Dakshinamurti, is approached by none other than Narada, who says, Soham Bhagavaha, I am this who has a PhD in every subject possible. Shochami. Same thing. Shoch. To grieve. I am subject to grief. So, it's very interesting. When the I is subject to grief, the I has to be interrogated. If the I was always unhappy, then that means sorrow cannot be removed, because sorrow is the nature of the I. This is what we were talking of last time. If sorrow is the nature of the I, then what to do about it? Nothing. So we will all be congratulating one another whenever any sad thing happens. Oh, how nice, one more sad thing happens, because it's in our nature. And if any happy things happen, we would commiserate, send them condolences and say, you of all people, 3 happy things happened this week. I don't think you don't deserve it. You are such a dharmic person. But we don't do that. And the reason we don't do that is because happiness is seen as our nature. Even the pharmaceutical companies know it. That's why they keep making different kinds of counter, drugs. Kava and this and that and all these things. So, antidepressants to keep the sorrow at bay, because even they know that sorrow is an aberration to the Atma, the I. So then sorrow naturally must be centered on Anatma, because there are only 2 things in the world, Vauhi Padartha, Atma, Anatmano. So then sorrow should be centered on Anatma. Is the chair sad? Am I sitting on a sad chair?
No.
Yeah. Even though we say Satsanga, the gathering of good people, we don't say sad sang, gathering of sad people, we don't say that. Is the house sad? No. Is anything in the Jagat sad? No. Because I gave you a very persuasive, at least I think it's persuasive, argument. What was that? That if the Jagat is the cause for sorrow, then why are you all hankering after things in the Jagat all the time? If it is the cause of sorrow, then you should not want to, you should wear some kind of a bubble and not be in touch with the Jagat. Jagat means the manifest universe. But everybody is a Jagat hog. You can't have enough of it. So there goes that theory that Anatma is the source of sorrow. So Anatma is not the source of sorrow. Atma is not a source of sorrow. What to do now? Last time I got away because it was time to end the class. That's why I bring these things up in the last 2 minutes. Now today it's the beginning. I can't get away. And you leave the usual hanging on the cliff. What is that called? Cliffhanger, yes. Can't do that this time. Caught. What to do now? Where to go? Therefore, that's why this one makes it, Bhagavan Krishna makes it very simple. That's why he says you're grieving over that which should not be grieved over. What is that? Anything that you're grieving over. Because neither the I is a source of sorrow, nor the not I, meaning this world of names and forms, this Jagat, this whole manifest universe is not a cause for sorrow. Where is this sorrow from?
Ignorance.
Yes, ignorance. Ignorance of what? The difference between I and not I. When you try to make khichdi, do you know what khichdi is? Yes. You don't know what khichdi is? Okay. You take rice and dal together, soak it and cook it. Put some masala and a few vegetables. It's a full 1 pot meal. Yeah. It's very convenient. Put everything together and you eat it. This is called khichdi. That's fine if you're talking of rice and lentils. But if you're talking of I and not I, when they are put in a pot and cooked, what is the outcome? Not khichdi, samsara. Sorrow, samsaro. That's why it's called samsara. The one who is very sorry as a result of this state of affairs is called samsari. Very, very sorry. Extremely sorry. This is what it is. So this sorrow is an impostor. In other words, it's like an Indian vegetable market. You go to the Indian vegetable market. They just polish all the fruits. It's all just in a nice pyramid shape this side, and man or the woman, the vegetable seller is sitting there, right, presiding over this whole rajya of fruits and vegetables, kingdom of fruits and vegetables. Everything is spick and span. It's just, everything is just so fresh. This side you see, the same vegetables and fruits are wonderful. What happened in the middle? Compost. Because anytime there's a dry cabbage leaf, this fellow, because he doesn't want to spoil the display, tears off the offending leaf and throws it in the middle. And that fellow, not to be outdone, throws another something in the middle, and all the people are walking right there. You see? This is what it is. So the sorrow, as soon as it touches Atma, Atma says, don't you come near me, you go away. And Anatma says, I don't even exist. All there is Atma alone. I am just there for the sake of differentiation, so that these ignorant, ridden people can start somewhere studying Vedanta. I am not even there. Don't come on this side. So this sorrow is right in the middle somewhere. Neither Atma nor Anatma. Both are Bhagavan. In fact, there is nothing other than Atma. Anatma is a standpoint. Jagat, anything that is not I, is a standpoint. It's not the whole story. And so this sorrow creeps up as an imposter. It does not belong anywhere. But then, where does it come from? I just told you it doesn't have an existence. Do you see a pot in the palm of my hand? Say no, come on. Yeah. Simply wasting time. So, what color is it? What color is it? Yeah, this is what happens. So, first of all, there is no sorrow. And then, then people start coloring the sorrow as though there is an outline. Well, it starts off with a frontal headache, and then it has this dejected feeling of not getting out from under the covers, even in this heat. And then, and then slowly, I feel myself out of the bed, and heavy-footed, I stomp and thump around the house, drag myself out. And then there is this feeling of, what's the point? Why be alive? This is what it looks like. Everybody is waxing eloquent about that which doesn't even exist. So here already people have painted the pot, correct? Which pot? This one? Yeah, a non-existent pot. You put colors, you put a shape. I have already put a shape, I am holding it like this. Otherwise, if it was a different pot, I would hold it like this, or perhaps like this. But you see, I have already given it a shape, because I am holding it like this. That means it's kind of roundish. If that pot looked anything like this pot, I would have held it like this, more like a fluting, holding thing. But no, I am holding it like this, and then everybody is filling in the blanks. This sorrow is a big blank. Everybody is taking, it's like how those children books have outlines. You join the dots and then you color in, at least in this Purna Vidya, these children's Bala Vihar, when they go to study, they have joined the dots and make Rama, Krishna, and then you color in. There is the peacock feather, there is this, that, and then you color it in. So sorrow is colored in. It's colored in. It's non-existent. It's absolutely non-existent? Yes, absolutely non-existent. Then why, how, okay, forget about me. Each one says, how come Arjuna is feeling sad? That's why Arjuna exists, so you can forget about you and focus on his sorrow. It's a relief, yeah. So how come he is sad? He is sad because he has made khichdi. Yes. The birth of sorrow is the result of ignorance. And what kind of ignorance? Ignorance itself cannot cause sorrow. Ignorance had to have ignorance with a little twist. Yes. Yes. Because dog is ignorant, correct? is ignorant. Cat doesn't say meow, 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 tattvamasi. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say the magic words. But they seem happier than humankind, correct? Don't you see that? Yeah. They're able to be spontaneous. They're able to be in the moment. They're able to enjoy life for the most part. They don't spend time feeling guilty. When they feel like growling, they growl. When they cannot resist their urge to bite a leg, they go find a leg and bite it, and then it's done. You know. After that, they are not sitting, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm a legaholic. I need to I have to go to Legaholics Anonymous and I have to declare myself as a legaholic. I'm addicted to legs. I have to bite. So I have to do something. So what to do? They don't seem to have this guilt. They're already muktaha. They seem to be free. Of course, if you don't give it a treat or if you abuse it, it looks sad. That's a different thing. But this garden variety sorrow, they don't seem to have. And so what does this mean? They are also ignorant. So ignorance is not enough to cause this invisible phenomenon, this non-existent phenomenon called sorrow. You need a little twist. What is the twist? The twist is, first is not knowing who I am. But since I have the buddhi, the brains and the free will, those two join together and make this khichdi. I take myself to be what I am not. Yeah, whatever I am not, I take myself to be. I am limited. I'm not limited, but I take myself to be finite, as good as this body, as good as this mind, as good as my limitations. So body is anatma. I am as good as the body. So the atma, anatma, khichdi, do you see it happening? Yeah. This khichdi happens for two reasons. I take myself to be what I am not. Atmani, on the I, anatma adhyasa. I superimpose on the I, the not I qualities of finiteness, limitations, fear, sorrow, etc. And I take them to be mine. Insecurity, non-acceptance, self-judgment, self-criticism. You can make a big list, unending list. So that is the first part of the problem. Atmani, anatma adhyasa. The superimposition adhyasa of the not I on the I. And then it's another kind of superimposition. Anatmani, atma adhyasa. In the not I, what is not I? Anything that I can see and objectify with my senses. Like another person, another body, mind, sense complex. Piece of cake. Cake is I or not I? That's a hard one. Cake is I or not I? Not I. But in the cake is heaven. See, already I have imposed a loka on it. Cake is what makes me eternally happy. That's why I keep going from one thing in the Jagat to another. I keep going in search of that which is real. I superimpose the real, which is the only thing that is real is what? I? Atma. But I superimpose that reality on the not I. So this is, do you understand the twofold adhyasa? So if we use another example to make clarify it. In the rope, I see what? Snake. In the rope is Atma. I do the aropa of the, of the snake, correct? So Atmani, anatma adhyasa, correct? That is one example. Anatmani, Atma Adhyasa. Yeah. Wherever something is not, I see it. And the example is difficult to give. So we just have to see that whenever you look for permanence, whenever you look for the real thing in a bottle of Coke, this is an example. Yeah, that's an example of Anatmani Atma Adhyasa. This is what is called Anyonya Adhyasa. Anyonya means mutual. Anya, Anya, Anyonya. Anyonya Adhyasa, this mutual superimposition. First the rice is mixed with the dal, and for good measure the dal is mixed with the rice. So that and after you make khichdi, do you think if somebody comes to your house and says, I'm allergic to rice, can I just have the dal? Can you pick it out? No. It is totally enmushed, you know. It's totally enmushed into one big mush. You cannot separate it. And that is why the sorrow comes. That is why the sorrow comes. And that is why, he starts the teaching by saying, you ashocyaha, ashocyan, that which should not be grieved over. Now here, a Purva Pakshi is someone who has no other business except to keep doubting and objecting all the time. They are paid doubters. That's how they put bread on the table. They just keep doubting all the time, as though their survival depends on it. So the Purva Pakshi has said, or can say, in fact this objection has been raised in other commentaries, Adi Shankara does not raise it. He says that the Purva Pakshi, the objector says, if the teaching begins indeed with the second chapter, 11th verse, which verse are we on? 11th. If the teaching indeed begins with the second chapter, 11th verse, then it should have started with something nicer than the negative particle a. Yeah. You don't start on a negative note. It's inauspicious. It should be auspicious, but in fact it is suspicious. Yeah. I wrote to somebody saying auspicious, but there is all this auto-correct. Auspiciousness it didn't recognize. He changed it to suspiciousness. So when you say it is suspicious, it's not auspicious. Correct? And so then what to do here? This is not the way to teach objection. This Gita should not be studied. In fact, you wasted your time chanting all this thing up till now. No work you had. Should not be studied. A big stay order has come. And what? How do we understand? Why does it begin with a negation? Negation is not nice. In fact, it should begin with yes. Yes, you are whole. Yes, you are free. Here, no, you should not grieve. I mean, this is not good. I mean, this may not make any difference in the contemporary times, but we are talking of ancient India, where there are certain ways of calling it a sign. There is a certain signs of auspiciousness. Like the word Om. Is it auspicious or suspicious? Auspicious. Yeah. Mangalam, auspicious. And that's why even when naming children, you don't name with negative. Like Nirmala. Nirmala, sometimes they'll, Nirmalananda they will say. Not dirty Ananda. Instead of just say Shuddhananda, pure Ananda. You say it, there are other ways to say it. So we try not to say no. And this is very much in keeping with the tradition of not saying no. That's why the Indians get into a fix. They say yes to everything. And then they have a hard time, poor things. Can you do this? Yes. Will you do this also? Yes, yes, yes. And what about all this? Yes, I'll do everything. And then, oh, I can't, what to do now? You know. Don't know how to say no. Everything is a yes. And why is it a yes? Not because, not because we have some issues, psychological issues. We may, but that's not the point here. That's not the point here. The point is that we are going with the culture, and the culture says, the vision, that the teaching is about saying yes to life, is about aligning oneself in a place of acceptance all the time. You accept what comes, because what comes is what? Bhagavan. Abba. Very nice. Yeah. So, what comes is Bhagavan. So, whenever something comes, whenever something drops in, we've seen this in Kathopanishad as well, Atithi. You say yes. Because when you say yes to life, when you reduce the number of negative particles, guess what happens? The negativity also gets reduced. Yeah. You say yes. And you are ever prepared. That's how the Boy Scouts got it from. Be prepared. They got it from the Hindu tradition. Be prepared. This is what the motto is of the culture, of the tradition. It has its roots in this ancient and timeless wisdom. This is what it is. You say yes. How to do it, we'll see later. Don't worry about it. Yes. Yeah. What will happen to me as a result? Okay, we'll see later. If I'm not meant to do it, it won't happen. Yes. This is something you can try. You can try it for one day. More than that might be too much. So, just try saying yes. And see what happens. See what all comes up. And see that which comes up. Is it valid? Is it real? Or is it like this sorrow and that we are discussing an imposter? So we are yes people, We are not no people, according to the traditional wisdom bank. Because anything that comes is not sent by God, as though God has no other time work than sending some FedExes or full of surprises. No. It is a manifestation of Bhagavan. It is the face of Bhagavan that you may never get to see. And it has come into my life, so I am prepared to say yes. So you see the connection between the auspiciousness of the yes and the suspiciousness of the no. Do you see the difference? Yeah. So with this background, now you can look at this verse as comes and say, why did he begin the teaching with a big no? He should have begun with something like Tvam Purnaha, But he begins with a negative particle, which is seen by many as a kind of like you make a wonderful, what is that called? Kheer. You know what kheer is? Oh, everybody knows? You know what kheer is? No? It's some kind of a milky concoction. Milky, delicious concoction with rice, and sometimes they have all kinds of things in it, yeah. Almonds and cardamom and vanilla and all, like a rice pudding. And so somebody made a whole batch of it and then wanted to give it one final stir. The spoon was missing. So they caught hold of something, some twig, some dirty twig which was lying on the side of the road, and they stirred it with that. And the whole thing gets spoiled, correct? And the objection is that Adi Shankara has done this. He made this wonderful, not Adi Shankara, Vyasa has done this. He made this wonderful 700 odd verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So beautiful, so delightful. And then what? stirred it with a roadside stick full of dirt and germs at the end by starting the teaching with Ashubham. That's why we had this 7-page introduction where he begins with this, we have already gone through this. He said this is, in the Shastra there are 2 roads. In the Shastra. What are the roads? One is, not even in the Shastra, in life. There are 2 roads. One is called pravritti. Pravritti, approach. The other is called nivritti, avoid. The road of approach is for the person who has not understood the finiteness of the happiness that one can eke out of this jagat. In fact, it's easier to get toothpaste out of a used toothpaste tube. One is more successful than milking happiness out of the jagat. Not possible. So the pravritti marga, the road of approach, is usually referred to for people who are after the anatma, after the not I, in the hope that it can produce the happiness of the I miraculously. This is called pravritti. Why is it called pravritti? Because their whole life is approaching this, that or the other. They try one, they strive, try something, give it up because it doesn't satisfy. Then on to the next thing, try, cry, then try, cry, you get the idea. You don't need me to repeat it for a few more rounds, right? No, good. So these cry people are called pravritti margins because they are in the marga. Marg in. Marga means road. But then there are a few others who seem to be just watching on the side. They are not approaching each and everything because once burnt, twice shy. Yes. Once they have got into the soup of samsara and been taken out with some great grace, or at least they have somehow waded like the proverbial fly, in the soup to the side of the bowl, and they are trying to get out. The legs are slipping, everything is happening. Hey Guru, they are crying and waiting on the sides for the wings to dry out so they can take off. They are, and other, playmates are calling them, come, at least if we drown in this soup, we'll be drowning in taste. It's tasty. It's very tasty. It's full of nutrients and antioxidants and vitamins and minerals, and it's good for you. So what if this is your last experience? Go out with a bang. Come into the center of the bowl. And these fellows don't come into the soup of samsara. They are waiting on the side. But they know, even though they may not be able to rescue themselves as yet completely, because the sides of the bowl are slippery and their legs are wet, they don't stop trying to get away from this offending, sinking samsara. And at the same time, they don't get into it. Their approach is what? Their approach is not approach, it is avoidance. They are called nivritti marginaha. Nivritti means they have understood because of some brain work, viveka, discrimination. They have understood the fact that this samsara cannot give me what I want. Samsara means anatma, cannot give me what I want. Atma is not able to, I don't feel that Atma is, giving me what I want. So where is this I? I have to see. It's certainly not here. Maybe it is centered on I. Maybe I have to look elsewhere. Maybe I have to look within. So these are people who have had tremendous joining of the dots and have made a lot of headway, and they no longer want to join the masses and their entreaties to go drown themselves in the soup of samsara. No matter how sizzling and spicy and wonderful it is, they don't want to go there. This is what is called nivritti margas. Now I ask you this question. Is Gita catering to the pravritti margins or the nivritti margins? Nivritti. Therefore it is appropriate to begin with negative. Yes. Nivritti means what? Freedom. Freedom from needing to approach, avoiding all the pitfalls and the landmines of samsara. Not going where everything is buried so that it can go off and take me away from the quest, so that I don't mistake the finite for the infinite. I have made that mistake so many times, says the person on the nivritti marga. So I avoid all of it and go for the road least travelled by the samsarins. Vivikta desha sevitvam aratihi jana samsadi. 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita says that such people on the nivritti path look for unpopulated places. Yeah. Aratihi, and they developed aratihi. Arati means no rati, no pleasure. In large assemblies of people, jana samsadi. Samsad means, it actually means Indian Parliament, but you can get the idea. Indian Parliament has 500 and odd seats. And then if you go and sit in a session, and then later on you go to the fish market, you don't know the difference. Everybody is screaming. But you know what was interesting is I went to Israel, and there they said, as a treat, we'll take you to the Parliament. And I thought, because they were so nice to us and they were so orderly, everything. I had not been there for too long. They picked me up from the airport and everything, the traffic seemed to be keeping an order. Everything was very orderly. And they have a name for that parliament, starts with a K. Yeah? Knesset, yeah. This Knesset went there, they said, we have got you seats for the parliament, and then here is the parliament, and here are all these orange-robed people trooping into the parliament, and these black-hatted rabbis also trooping into the parliament. So this whole delegation, the Hindu-Jewish delegation, we came to the parliament. First, I needed headphones because I needed some earplugs because it was so loud. I said, surely the people, the parliamentarians who are so well-dressed are not making this noise, but they were. Yeah, and then they were screaming, and one of them gave the paper to the other one, and we were sitting in the balcony seats and watching, in this amphitheater, like, this whole theater. And one of them gave a paper to the other one, set of papers. The other one, without reading, tore it up, made it into confetti, and, threw it on the head of the first one. Oh, how dare you do it? And something else was thrown, and then afterwards I learnt, and the decibel level, it was huge. And the poor translator had stopped translating after a while because he was just looking like this, Who to translate how, because they were all talking at the same time. Then I was informed that because they were aware that we were coming and we were there, and they were on their best behavior. So I was very heartened. Yeah. Because the Indian Samsad, which means an assembly of people. This is a democracy, right? Yeah. So it is exactly like that. Yeah. Yeah, everybody threatens to walk out, everybody is screaming at everyone else. So here, Samsad doesn't mean parliament. Samsad means any assembly of people, aratihi. So the person of nivritti develops an allergy to large bodies of people because you are not into whatever they want. This is what happens with Vedanta. This is when people get frightened and stop coming to class. That is the wrong idea, okay? Yeah. This is what happens. You used to take Vedanta classes, and then all the things that you used to enjoy, the enjoyment lessens. Oh, this is not nice. How come the enjoyment lessens? The enjoyment lessens because your enjoyment has shifted from anatma to atma, to the newly discovered atma, not that the newly existent atma, no, it was ever existent, as we will find out in the coming verses. It was never non-existent. But the new discovery that I am enough, I have enough, I am okay, is what is the cause for this jubilation all the time. So I don't need a particular engagement with a set of people or with a particular kind of an ideology or a particular pastime in order to generate that inner happiness, because that inner happiness is really, even though I thought I was generating it, it was never absent. But I didn't know that. So I was trying to manufacture it by contact with anatma. This is going to be very important later on. He's going to talk about that. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. So this is basically what the whole thing is. That this, as one studies more and more, one, one may engage in the same pastimes as before, but the enjoyment is not the same. And if that makes you feel sad, here is something to cheer you up. The disappointment is also not the same. Otherwise it's a volatile, like a yo-yo. The expectations are high. I want this movie to be great. And so people read the reviews, people watch the, what is it called? The trailer. People watch the trailer and people do all these things and then go and buy the tickets in advance, make the time in your life, get extra butter on the popcorn, go sit in the movie. Then what happens? It is like nothing you wanted, you want to run out of there. Nivritti from that movie you need. Forget Shastra. This movie I cannot withstand. And then what happens? This is very interesting, because when I come out with a feeling of being slighted, as though the director and the producer of the movie have a personal vendetta against me. That's why they made this movie. This was before Vedanta. So the disappointment is also not there. After Vedanta, I won't even bother to go. That's all. While I'm studying, I won't bother. If I go and I'm disappointed, I take it in stride. All right, I walked out. It's okay. This is how it is. So neither the disappointment is there. That drama quotient has gone down from life. I'm no longer a drama king or a drama queen. I'm not there anymore, because the drama quotient goes down when one commits to nivritti. Nivritti means avoiding the jagat, like the plague. But I'm in the jagat. How to avoid the jagat? Avoiding banking on the jagat as a source of my satisfaction and my contentment and my sorrow. So this avoidance is equal to, the non-engagement is equal to nivritti. So the non-engagement is the cause of what? Non-sorrow. You see, everything is, I'm putting it negatively just to make this point. I'm known to manipulate things here and there. So the non-engagement is the cause of non-sorrow. Actually, I'm gearing up for the next verse, because which is all about non-non. The next verse is all about double negatives. So the non-engagement is equal to non-sorrow. The engagement is equal to sorrow. So Arjuna's sorrow comes from the wrong and over-indulgence and over-engagement with his jagat, of his people, his grandfather, his elders, his cousins, his sons, his nephews. This is what, there is no boundary there. And so this breaching of the boundary is what is causing between the I and the not I. The not I is really not there, but it's a process. First you have to discern the I from the whole mix-up of the khichdi of the not I and the I. So the I has to be discerned. Atma kaha. What is this Atma? Tattva Bodha asked. And then that is what it is. That which is that which is the truth of the waker, sleeper, dreamer, that which is not seen or heard or made, you can't make contact with this I by any means of knowledge. But does that mean it is non-existent? No, it is self-existent, that which is the Sakshi, the witness of everything. Starting with one's own experiences of 3 states of existence, the witness of everything. This is what the Atma is, that which is never an object, the subject of the witness. So, Ashocyan is nivritti, meaning avoid. This path of avoidance is being inaugurated in the form of the teaching in the 11th verse. The path of avoidance, this is the recipe for avoiding sorrow. So no wonder it starts with a negative particle, because this is a negation of samsara. In fact, what is more auspicious than a negation of samsara? Nothing is more auspicious. That is why it starts with Ashocyan. Okay? Bhashya. Tatra evam dharma sammudha, the last paragraph before the next verse. So, tatra evam dharma sammudha chetasah mahati shoka sagare nimagnasya glab 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 arjunasya anyatra atmajnanad uddharanam apashyan bhagavan vasudevah tatah arjunam uddidharayishuhu atmajnanaya avatarayan aha. Yeah. So tatra evam, so tatra means in that context, evam, in this manner, dharma sammudha chetasaha, the one who was confused about dharma, the one whose heart was conflicted about what is the right thing to do. Who was that? Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra, Arjuna, Krishna. Which is the right answer?
Arjuna.
Yeah. So dharma sammudha chetasaha, for this 6th case. So for this dharma sammudha chetasa, the one who was deluded about what is the correct right thing to do, about the one who was having a severe delusional panic attack about dharma, and not only that, mahati shoka sagare glab 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 asya. Mahati means in this huge shoka sagare, ocean of sorrow. Nimagna, nimagna means glab glab glab. Nimagnasya, for the one who is what? Drowning. Present continuous, because at least if one is drowned, then there is nothing more to talk of. It's over and done with, right? Next janma we'll see, next life we'll see. If one is not drowned, then that's also fine. But here it is drowning in samsara. What were you doing in the last life? Drowning in samsara. What were you doing in the life before? Drowning in samsara. What are you doing in this life? Drowning in samsara. Present continuous. Yeah, nimagnasya. So not only that, so Arjuna had 2-fold afflictions. One, he was deluded about the correct thing to do. That was the cause of sorrow. He had a dharma sankata. And then the second cause of sorrow was what? He was, drowning in a vat of sorrow. And then, so what happened? Anyatra atmajnana. Anyatra, atra, tatra, anyatra. So this is a suffix tra, which has the kind of a 7th case kind of a thing. So anyatra, other than. It's an indeclinable. So anyatra, other than atmajnana. So that's why when you use anyatra or other than, then that word which it is used for goes in the 5th case. Even in English we say other than self-knowledge, apashyan, Bhagavan saw that other than self-knowledge there is no other refuge for this fellow and no other solution. Because he didn't say, Krishna, give me the flask in the back, let's have a cup of tea. He didn't say, I want some treatise on dharma, please teach me about dharma of warfare. What did he say? He says, I don't know what to do. I'm completely dejected and confused. I am your disciple. Please take me as such and straighten me out. Whatever you need to do, do. Help me to come out of this situation. So this is what was the nature of his surrender. Shishyasteham. I am your Shishya. Shadi Mam. You know, Shadi doesn't mean get married to me. Shas. Shas. You know, Shas means to teach. So, Shasta means teacher. So, Shas and Dhi means to teach me. There is an imperative mood. Teach me now. There is an urgency. It's not like teach me after the battlefield. Now, right now, teach me because I don't know what to do. Swam prapannam, I just surrender. Pra plus path plus past passive participle. Prapannam, I have fallen literally at your feet. I have sunk into this delusion, to this web of delusion and a vat of sorrow. You know, take me out, do whatever you need to do. And Krishna could have said, this is not the time to ask questions, get up and fight. He could have refused to teach. He could have said, let's see it later. Or he could have said, yes, that's fine, but first fight the war. Or he could have said, you're not doing anything wrong, go for it. But he took it seriously. And so for one who is drowned in delusion, and the one, so there are three conditions here for the teaching taking place. The first condition is drowning in delusion, drowning in ocean of samsara. And what is the third condition? Yes, being ready, asking and being ready for the knowledge. Because even if, you go in the roadside, go to any place, you will find lots of people drowning in this, that or the other, but they have not asked for this knowledge. So this is not Jehovah's Witness. You don't go and distribute flyers from door to door. Only those who ask and sincerely ask, not just for the sake, oh, by the way, what is Vedanta? Let's discuss it over a cup of tea. That's not what we are talking about. Those who sincerely ask from a spirit of surrender, unto them the knowledge is never denied, and for them this knowledge is given. So these are the three conditions. Not that one is suffering and deluded about dharma, but that one has asked for this knowledge and done whatever one can to be in this knowledge. For such people, this knowledge is given. It is very clear. So then he thought, Atma Uddharanam. Uddharanam means rescue, lifting up. Ut plus Haranam, Uddharanam. Haranam, taking away. Ut, upwards, meaning kind of a rescue from this. If we imagine the samsara to be this soup with the aforementioned, six-legged, Shatpadi. Shatpadi means the six-ped. We have biped, quadruped. So this six-footed one is there. And how does the rescue take place? What is the net? The net is the net gain of this teaching, which has started with this verse. So he says that Atma Jnana Anyatra, other than Atma Jnana, there is no other rescue. Why? Why does he say that? Because the sorrow is not real. If the sorrow was real, and if the ocean of samsara were real, then we have to do, and if somebody is drowning in the ocean of samsara, then we have to do what they are doing to find that Malaysian flight which nobody knows where it went. They have all these underwater submarines, and then they are mapping out and taking photos all the time. All this, the deep sea creatures are sick of smiling for every photograph. Because these cameras are clicking away. And and all their peace is disturbed. They are saying, I have to always wear makeup and I always have to be presentable and I am always to keep smiling. But whole family life is destroyed. And so, Arjuna, Krishna, Bhagavan will have to send a submarine if the sorrow was real. You don't need Gita. You need a pontoon to go in and rescue this glub Arjuna and dry him out, Take him somewhere in Rajasthan in the desert or to New Mexico and then just dry him out. So he's dehydrated from the sorrow, if the sorrow was real. If the sorrow is unreal, then also Atma Jnanam or any Jnanam is not needed. Any rescue is not needed because it is unreal. But because of its iffy nature, there is an iffy rescue. And this iffy rescue is what we call Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge. There is really no problem that is needing a solution. This as though solution is for the one who says, I have a problem. The problem is as though, and the solution also belongs to that as though reality. So now there is an as though Guru. Who is the as though Guru? Bhagavan Krishna. And then an as though Shishya who says, I don't know, I'm afflicted. And the Guru says, don't worry, don't fear, when I am here, everything will be fine and you are going to learn such wonderful things and Ashocyan Vashochastvam, and you are great and everything is okay and this is great and we are having a good time because this sorrow I'm going to banish. I'm going to beat it up so that you will not be afflicted anymore. Just like chasing the monsters in the bed when the parents, go to the child's room. The child doesn't want to sleep because there are the monsters. So the mother and the father beat up the monsters under the bed. That is exactly what Krishna is doing for Arjuna. It's an as though, rescue. Because really speaking, Atma is already rescued. If there is, even though the word Uddharanam is used, it is not to be seen, even though we translate it as rescue, but it is an as though rescue. Because the Hindu tradition, the Vedic tradition is not a salvific tradition. It's not about being saved. It is about knowing that one is already saved. If one needs to be saved, it is from all saviors. That's the only saving. Yeah. And this is the saving grace of the tradition, that there is nobody and nothing to save. So therefore, this is a very deep thing and a beautiful thing. So therefore what? So therefore he says that, Uddharanam Atma Jnanad Anyat Apashyan. So not seeing any way out other than to teach him. Because he is ready, he has surrendered and he has all the symptoms of a samsari. And the fever is there, the palpitations are there, the fear is there, the sorrow is there. And therefore, he is a correct candidate for this knowledge, and knowing that nothing else is going to work right now. This is the only thing he wants, and this is the only thing he needs. Bhagavan Vasudevaha. So this Bhagavan, not just somebody from the Mahabharata, but this is the Bhagavan who has come to the earth to help, exactly this this kind of a situation, who has taken this avatara. And what does he do? Arjunam uddidharayishuhu. Uddidharayishuhu means the one who is desirous of rescuing him from his own mess, as though rescuing him. One who is desirous of helping. The desirous of making this rescue. Atma Jnanaya avatarayan aha. So the one who, the one who Atma Jnanaya. So to avatarayan means introducing this Atma Jnanam. Atma Jnanam is what? Self-knowledge. Introducing this self-knowledge. Aha. Aha means said. What did he say? We have already chanted that. Ashocyaniti. Going further. Nashocyaha ashocyaha bhishmadronadayah sadvritatvat paramartharupena na nityatvat cha nityatvat tan ashocyan ashocyaha anushocitavan asi te mriyante mat nimignam aham taihi vina bhutah kim karishyami rajya sukhadina iti tvam pragnavan pragnavatam buddhimatam vadamscha vachanani cha bhashase. So here he says that what is ashocya? Nashocyaha ashocyaha. That which is not to be grieved is called ashocya here. And who was the subject of the shocha, the grief? Bhishma, Drona, all these people he had to terminate. Correct? Yeah. So he had to terminate all of them, and he found himself on the opposite side of them. He in fact wished to go join them. They say if you can't beat them, join them. This is what he wanted to do. He was all confused. Why they are on the other side? They are my people, but they are on the other side. He was very terribly confused. And so so why is it not to be grieved that he has to kill them? Because Bhishma and Drona, etc. are immortal. Oh, they are still alive? What is their address? Where can I go see them? They are immortal in the sense that their spirit, their Atma, their Jiva, that which is sentient, not the body, mind, sense complex, but the indweller of the body of Bhishma and Drona, etc., that will continue all the time. They may take on different forms. So, just like the flower. Now it is a rose. Now it is a withered rose. Now it is compost. Now it is another tree, a rose bush, another rose bush. Now it is another bud. So this is what is called, that's why it is Ashocya. Even from the standpoint of their body, mind, sense complex, they are still Ashocya because they are of noble character, Sadritatvat, and because they are noble. What happens, even though they have done some bad things here and there, and like joining the wrong side of the war, they are still, even after they leave, on the relative level, they will leave behind a great legacy of their greatness. Therefore, they are Ashocya. So, but what are you doing? You are completely gone into the ocean of sorrow because you say that they will die. Mriyante te. Okay, then what? Mat nimittam. They are going to die because of me. Aham taihi vina bhutah. Kim karishyami. Bereft of them, what will I do? Etc. etc. You are keeping on grieving all the time. You are not looking at their immortality even from the relative or the absolute standpoint, that nothing can put an end to anyone else. And here you have gone into a kind of a thing, it's all about me, and you are grieving simply without any reason. And then what shall I do with the kingdom? How can I be happy, etc. This is what he's saying. I'm going to take 2 more minutes. Tam prajnavadamscha bhashase tad etad maudhyam pandityam cha viruddham atmani darshayasi unmattah iva iti abhiprayah. So similarly, but at the same time, even though you are going down this downward spiral of sorrow and confusion and based on wrong conclusions, you are also talking about dharma. Oh, this is the warfare, and this is how this leads to a lot of travesty, and you are giving me a whole lecture on dharma. This insufferable lecture I listened to, all of the first chapter you only talked, you didn't let me talk at all. Usually I am used to talking for the entire chapter, as we are about to see. And that is how it should be, it's a samvada. But in the first chapter, who talked? You only talked. And then anybody listening to you would have thought that you are a pandit, a scholar. Because prajnavadamscha bhashase, and you sounded like you were making sense. But your thoughts are not making sense. And then what you say in between all the dharma talk is not making sense. So simultaneously, you are exhibiting the traits of a scholarly person and a deluded person. Like one who is mad. Unmattaha iva. What will the mad person do? Suddenly laughs, suddenly cries. Same person simultaneously laughs and cries without any reason, without. So you are a bundle of contradictions, O Arjuna. And this calls for a drastic intervention. An intervention into the nature of sorrow as being an interloper into this matter of the self. More we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.